Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up, and I have read a total of 10 books in November. I didn't read the first part of November because I got put in the hospital and I had just a really hard first part of November basically, but the second half of November I read a lot. And if you guys are subscribed to me or have been following what I've been doing these past few weeks, I have read the entire Harry Potter series this past 2 weeks, and it has been amazing. I absolutely love this series. I'm sad that it's taken me this long to read it, but I'm happy that I did. It was so good and I loved it, so I'm going to talk about that today. So obviously the first book is, I'm just going to take this out, is the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So this book was so good and I absolutely loved it. It just follows Harry Potter, and it's just kind of the first part of his big journey, him discovering that he's a wizard, and he has a lot of battles for an 11-year-old, but this is just, I just can't describe how much I loved this one. And the first, I'm going to say the first 3 books are pretty lighthearted. You know, I feel like they're not so dark and crazy, because towards the end of the series, things start to get pretty dark. But these, I love the first 3 books just because it's like the calm before the storm, before everything happens, and you get to see him be a kid, but you also get to see him like overcome all of these crazy things that normally an 11-year-old could not conquer. But I absolutely loved this. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Actually, I'm just going to say I gave every single Harry Potter book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If I could have given them more, I would have. Every single book was excellent. Then I read, obviously, The Chamber of Secrets. This one made me laugh. I feel like this one is super funny, and it had so much comedy in it, and I absolutely loved it. And one of the reasons I actually never read the Harry Potter series when I was little is because I watched the second movie when I was in elementary school, and the snake in the movie scared me so, I don't even know if it's a snake, it's a basilisk, but it looked like a snake to me, and so I refused to read the series just because of the snake. So that's like a big reason why I'm obviously not as scared anymore. I mean, it still kind of gives me the creeps, to be honest, because I still don't like snakes, but yeah, but this one, so good. I'm kind of just going through these. I don't want to be like super long video. The next book, Prisoner of Azkaban. This one I loved because things just started happening more, you know, like you meet Sirius Black and his character, and you think that he's just like, you know, awful. Little spoiler, he's actually not awful. He's Harry's godfather, and you just see Harry go through so much in this book, but also once again accomplish so much, and he learns more about his life, and that's why I appreciate this one a ton. And this one, I think this is the one that had all the Quidditch stuff. Sometimes I get them all confused a little bit. And the Dementors came in this one. Oh my gosh, the Dementors. I don't love the Dementors, but I love Harry fighting off the Dementors in this. It is so cool. And the end of this book is, oh my gosh, amazing. Like, I could not deal. I read the end of this book so fast because I just was like, I need more, I need more, I need more. And when it was over, I was exhausted. Like, a lot of stuff happened, but oh my gosh. I'm going to rank these for y'all, my favorite to least favorite at the end of this. Next we have The Goblet of Fire. This one, I'm already going to just say, I know I just said I was going to rank it at the end, is my least favorite one. And I think it was just because of all of the, you know, the task and stuff. They did the Triwizard Tournament, and that just wasn't my favorite thing. I don't know why, it just wasn't. You know, and also something really sad happens at the end. The end of the book is my favorite part, and I really liked it. But I don't know, I just like I liked the book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It just definitely wasn't the one that, like, if I had to pick a Harry Potter book to read for the rest of my life, just one, it would not be this one. But I still liked it. It was very good. I enjoyed reading it. And yeah, there's that one. The next one is Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix. And this one, oh my gosh, talk about being irritated the entire time. I was so irritated with everything. I just wanted to throw this book, and if you watch my vlogs, you hear me say like 5 or 6 times I wanted to throw the book across the room. I was getting so angry. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this, but people had a lot of issues with Dumbledore. I did not understand that. Like, he even says he makes mistakes. Okay, like, yeah, I didn't agree with everything Dumbledore did. Like, I would have talked to Harry, but he said he made a mistake. If he would have sat there and said that he was perfect and doesn't do anything wrong and he's not taking any responsibility, I can see people not liking him. But he takes responsibility for his actions, which I appreciated. Everybody screws up. Just because he's Albus Dumbledore doesn't mean he's not allowed to screw up. So, but that's just my opinion. But this whole book was irritating for me. So irritating. I do believe this is the one with Umbridge. And Umbridge, oh my god. Umbridge is, Umbridge needs help. She needs help. I'm trying to look real quick to see if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one where Umbridge comes in. Cannot stand this woman. Like, physically repulses me. Hate her. Hate her. And also, like, other characters, though, get introduced in this book, like Luna Lovegood. I absolutely love Luna. And, just... there's good things that happen in this book. I really, really, really loved this book. It's just so much, like, oh, annoying. And the Daily Prophet, like, I just wanted to kill them. And Cornelius Fudge, so annoying. Nobody believed Harry and that Voldemort was back. And it was just honestly annoying and irritating and frustrating. I wanted to rip my hair out because I could not stand the people in this book. So... but through all of that, there were great moments in the book, and I wish I would have written some of this stuff down because right now my head's like flustered. I read all of these in 2 weeks, so they're kind of all mushing together a little bit. But there were such good parts in this book, and the ending, when it got to like the halfway point, I started to not get so annoyed. Things started to kind of get a little better, and I wasn't getting so pissed off, basically. But that's how I feel about that one. And the next one... The Half-Blood Prince. Oh my gosh. This one was my favorite. Favorite by far. I loved this book. It was so good. I loved the lessons with Dumbledore. Dumbledore and Harry's relationship got so good in this, and so many good things happened with them. And, I mean, really, really sad stuff happens, obviously. That's just kind of like part of all of this. But... I cried in this one, and if you guys watch my vlogs, you know I don't cry. I have not cried at a book since I was 13 years old. That was 7 years ago, and it was Looking for Alaska. I cried like a baby in this book. I could not handle the death that happened in this book. I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And my mom woke up and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay." And I was just so upset, but still, it is my favorite book of the series. I loved it, and it's just such a good lead way into the very last book of the series. Which brings me to the Deathly Hallows. So this one is my second favorite. I loved it. However, one thing I will say, and this is probably why it's not my first favorite, is I missed Hogwarts. I missed them going to class, and those are my favorite parts of these series, is when they're in class and learning and stuff. And I mean, I get that they could not have possibly gone to Hogwarts. I totally get that. Like, I'm not saying that I wish she would have written it differently at all. I love how she did it. But I just am saying I missed it and everything. And some things were really frustrating. Ron annoyed me a lot in this, even though I know he was wearing that locket that Voldemort had, the Horcrux or something? I don't know. But it's one of Voldemort's souls was in this locket, and it made Ron very irritable and angry, but all three of them were wearing it. But Ron is so insecure that I feel like it just affected him differently, but Ron really bothered me in this one, and I'm glad Hermione took care of that, because she took care of business with Ron, because Ron needed his little ass whipped. So, but I did love this book. The ending was amazing. I was so satisfied after reading this book. It was just an amazing series, and I am so, so happy that I have read it. And I intend on rereading this series every single year, preferably the summer. So yeah, got that. I also read 3 other books during this month that were not Harry Potter series. First book that I read was The Upside of the Unrequited. I don't know which one it is actually. But this book, I liked it. I didn't love it. The thing that I loved about this book is how diverse it is. There are different races and different sexual orientations. This was such a good book in that sense, the diversity. I loved that about this book. And it wasn't trying too hard either. I feel like sometimes books try really too hard, and it's like crazy almost. Like, like, I don't know if you know, like, I feel like it's just like, they feel like they have a checklist that they have to, you know, like they're like checking everything off. And I did not feel like this at all in this book. It was so good and just blended in with the story. It wasn't like, you know, it was so good. I loved that part of the book. However, I think I went into this book really expecting to relate to the main character because I just felt like I would by reading the tab, but I didn't. And me and her were really different, actually, and I just found myself, I think, having high expectations of being able to relate to her, and it just didn't happen that way. Like, she's had 26 crushes, I think, and I've had a couple crushes in my life, but not a lot, and I'm also not very, like, I focus on a lot of other things, like, primarily academics is what I've always been focused on, so boys were kind of, like, not really on my #1 priority list when I was in high school, and it just seems like she really, really put a lot of her, like, self-worth into men, and I just didn't, that's how I felt anyways, and I'm just like, girl, you're, like, beautiful without it, like without a man, you don't need a man to tell you you're beautiful and everything, but I feel like she found her self-worth through this guy, Reed, and I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't like that part of it very much. I mean, maybe that's not how a lot of other people perceived it, and I would have given this book a 3 out of 5 stars, but because the diversity is so amazing and so well done in this book, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars just because, you know, I feel like that does deserve to be credited so much in this book. It did such a beautiful job with that. But that is that one. The next book I have is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This book was so good. I strongly, strongly recommend you. It's unlike any of other John Green's books that I've ever written or read. So I read Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska. Loved Looking for Alaska. Fault in Our Stars is okay. I didn't like Paper Towns. I didn't even finish that one because I couldn't get through it. But this one was so good, and it is so different from anything else I've ever read. And I honestly felt like I was reading my own mind. This girl's anxiety in this is so crazy like mine. And honestly, the whole book, you kind of feel like you're having a panic attack. That's how I felt anyways while reading. I was reading it and I was like, am I freaking out? Like, I was freaking out, and my anxiety would be bad after reading it for a while. My mom would be like, maybe you just need to go calm down a little bit because it does get a little intense. But it was such a good book, and I strongly, strongly recommend it. I'm not really going to get into too much about it because it's one of those books I feel like you can just open and just enjoy the experience and not go in knowing too much, but it was so good, and I highly, highly recommend it. The last book that I read is Eliza and Her Monsters. This is a 5 out of 5 stars. It is my second favorite book of all time, the first being Pride and Prejudice. It was so good. So, so good. I related to Eliza so much, and I thought I related to her. Her name's Aza in the book, I think. Yeah, Aza in Turtles All the Way Down, but I relate to Eliza far more, and this book was just so amazing, and it makes you feel good. There are some heavy topics in it, but overall, at the end of it, I just felt so happy and satisfied with it. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful book, and it follows this girl who has this, she's like famous, basically. She created this webcomic, and she is literally famous. It's called Monsters Seas. Yeah, and she just created this amazing thing, and she meets this guy who writes fan fiction, and he's actually very famous in her world too for the fan fiction. And they meet, but she doesn't tell him who she is, and things kind of get out of control, but he brings her out of her shell, and she starts to socialize more, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful story, and I'm begging you guys to go pick it up and read it. You will not regret it. I read this in one sitting. It was amazing. So yeah, pick this up. Now, I'm going to also tell you the 3 books that I'm currently reading right now. Yes, I read like 3 books at a time, sometimes 4. First one being Darker by E.L. James. Yes, I read the series. I absolutely love the 50 Shades of Grey series, and I am decided that I am not ashamed of it. I love it. I know it's a guilty pleasure read. It's not classic, beautiful literature or anything, but you know what? Sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned, trashy, guilty pleasure novel. And that's what I'm reading right now. So this is from Christian Grey's perspective of the whole thing, and 50 Shades of Darker was my favorite book in the whole trilogy. So far I'm really liking it. I'm on page 141, and it's very good, and I intend on finishing this very soon. The next book that I have is Ask for It by Sylvia Day. This is another adult novel. I don't know how I feel about this. It's not my favorite thing I've ever read. Like, I'm like that far into it. It's not like fantastic or anything, but I'm gonna finish it. It's a series. I don't know if I'll continue reading it because, like I said, it's like, I don't know. It's not my favorite. I'm not even really gonna discuss it because it's just not my, like I said, my favorite. So the next book I'm reading is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I'm on page 50 of this book right now, and so far I really like it. The writing style is different. I'm having a hard time getting used to it. It's kind of confusing a little bit, but I do like it, and I feel like once I get more into it, I'll start to like it even more. I'm just having to get used to how it's written because he's writing letters to a friend. So, yeah. But I'm just having to get used to that. But I'm sure I will. I'll finish this quickly. I probably will finish this tonight. But yeah, that is it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. I am about ready to film my December TBR. But I hope you guys enjoyed this November wrap-up. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see some daily vlogs and more videos like this. And I will see y'all later.